Hey, what is up, guys? It's your boy Mo, and in this video, we will be doing lab 11.3. Um, yeah, let's get right into it. I'm gonna try and keep this video as short as possible. So in this lab, we are going to be writing a program for a tax preparer, or like a person that is preparing tax and want to calculate tax for their client, right? So in our case here, we have to let's look at our requirements for this program. I can't even goddamn talk, but anyway, we have to write a program that determines the taxable income and income tax for an employee. Use the tax laws below. So tax payers are charged a flat rate of 20%. All taxpayers are allowed $10,000 standard deduction for each dependent dependent. A taxpayer is allowed additional $2,000 deduction. Gross income must be entered to the nearest penny. Okay, that's fine. The income tax is expressed in a decimal number, which is also doable. In order for us to do this, we have to use three functions: the message functions, the user input function, and cal underscore tax, which is calculate tax function. Um, so yeah, guys, let's get right into it. This does not look very difficult at all. We can probably do this under 10, maybe under 20 minutes. Let's do it, guys. So we first need to put our message function, which calls our user input function, and then our user input function will call our tax or calculate tax function over here. So in our first thing right here, this is what our program is supposed to look like. It's gonna say tax calculator. So it says the message displays the string literal tax calculator. So we need a function which will only display the tax calculator title. In order to do that, we will define our first function using DEF keywords, and then naming our function message. Let's see over here, MESSAGE, MES, oh my God, MESSAGE, and then we're gonna do colons to define our function, and then within this function, so we're gonna write our print statement, which is gonna be tax calculator. Oops. CA, just tax calculator. And then oopsie guys, we have our second function, which will be user input function, where it prompts the user for the name, number of dependents, and gross income. So I'm gonna do def user input, user underscore input, user underscore input function, where we take the user's name. So we're gonna ask the user for their name and store it in username. We're gonna do input, enter your name. So what we're doing, we're declaring a variable username and asking the user for the input of their name and then storing it in the variable username. Up next, we're going to ask the user for the number of dependents and gross income. So dependents, we DEPENDENTS is equal to, into int input enter the number of dependents. And TS. Where is it? DEPN. DEN. I can't even spell dependent. I can't even spell dependent correctly, guys. Sorry. Okay. This is Hazel dependence. There you go. With S. So they're gonna enter the number of dependents in their family, or how many dependents they have, and then we're going to store it into dependents. And then lastly, we're going to declare a variable named gross income, and then ask the user for their income. So since they're entering an income, we're going to pass it through float, FLOAT, since it's a decimal number. Going to get their input and ask them enter Oops, input, enter gross income. All right, so we have our three variables here, username, dependents, and gross income, where the users enters each and every one of these. And the program stores the values into these variables we have declared respectively. So up next, we are going to do our third function, which is tax calculator function, where it says tax calculator function uses local variables to assign tax rate, standard deduction, and additional deduction. Okay, additional deduction. It also computes taxable income and income tax outputs for messages as shown in the output display. So this is what our third and final function should do. It should just say, hello, Soledad, you have entered 3 dependents. Your calculated gross income is this. Your taxable income is this, and then your final income tax is that. That is super easy to do, guys. Let's go ahead and do this right away. So we're gonna do DEF. I'm gonna declare our third function, calculate tax. That is our function, and then right under the definition of the caltax function, we have to first enter our tax rate, right? So tax underscore rate underscore DEC. So we know our tax rate is 20%, right? So we're not gonna use our program to calculate the decimal value. We can do that simply by using our own brains. So what we do is we put what do we put? We put so 20% in decimal value is 0.20. Okay, that's the first, and then standard deduction. So we have our standard deduction of $10,000. So we do a variable std underscore deduction, DEDUCTION, standard deduction is equal to 20. How much is standard deduction? $10,000. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then up next, we have for each dependent, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now we have to calculate our deduction. So a dependence deduction would be, so we declare a new variable named dependent, DEPENDEN, I don't know. So let's just do DEP deduction is equal to, so dependent deduction would be equal to dependence times 2,000, right? Dependence times 2,000 times. Okay, so we're getting a red underline here because we did not pass our arguments. You remember? So these are only local scope. So these are only available within our first function here. So in order for us to do that, we simply have to call our function calculator tax and then pass the variables through the argument. So we're going to do username, comma, dependence underscore gross income. Oops. Comma, gross income. And we're gonna simply copy this and pass this in the parameters of the caltax function, calculator of tax function. We're gonna paste this right there. Go for it. So this should solve. Okay, we spelled this wrong. So DEPE dependence right there. Dependence times 2,000. Now we calculate the total deductions, right? So the total deduction, we can name a variable named total deduction. DEDUCTION, total deduction is equal to, we can set this to, so our standard deduction is $10,000. So we're going to do STD, standard deduction plus dependence deduction. So we are adding standard deduction and then dependent deduction to compute the total amount we are taking out from our users' gross income, which does not get taxed. So in order to do that, we simply add both of these variables, standard deduction and dependent deduction, and set it to a variable total deduction. in our case over here. Now we do taxable income. Let's do taxable income variable. So in order to calculate taxable income, we do a tax. So we do taxable taxable underscore income variable. Which is the gross income minus total deduction. So it's going to be gross income minus total deduction. Yeah. So our taxable income is gross income minus taxable deduction. And then we calculate our final income tax, right? And so we declare a new variable named income tax, income underscore tax. And in order to calculate the income tax, guess what we do, guys? We simply multiply the taxable income by our tax rate over here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do taxable income times tax rate decimal times tax rate DEC, tax rate decimal over here. All right, guys. Up next, that's pretty much it. That's we have calculated everything in our case. Now we just need to output whatever it says to output. So first it says hello Soledad, so we're gonna print that. Print. We're gonna use f string hello Soledad. So it's gonna be under our variable name username. That's what it's gonna say. Hello Soledad. So we're gonna have a comma right after this, as a matter of fact. And then it's gonna say you have entered 3 dependents. So now we do another print statement saying you have entered. Let's see how it looks, how the English looks here. It says you have entered 3 dependents. So you have entered. So the 3, the numeric value of dependents is stored under dependents. DEP dependents, 3 dependents. 3 dependents. And then, oopsie guys. And then we're going to print our third line, which is going to be you have entered a gross income of. So we're going to do print f string you have entered the gross income of, and then we use our gross income variable here, which is going to be stored in gross income. Gross income. Since we are using the proper formatting, we have to use a comma and dot to decimal. Okay, so we're going to do semicolon. Let's make this a little larger to view. Semicolon, comma, dot to F. Okay, and then we close our bracket. That's our total gross income. And then we print, what do we print? Soledad, your taxable income is. So we're going to do print. Instead of Soledad, we're going to do our name. So user name, comma, your taxable income is. Taxable income is. And then we put our taxable income variable here. Oopsie, sorry guys. Taxable income. We're gonna have to put the $sign. And then we also need to make sure that we're including our comma and then dot to F. And we can end string right here. All right. And then taxable income is, and your taxable income is that. So your taxable income is that. Okay, so this should run, guys. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and do max page over here. Why are we getting error here? Local variable income tax. Oh, I think we're missing a line here, guys. Uh, so, so that your taxable income is, okay, let's, oh, sorry, guys. We're missing we're missing the third line. So we did, um, sorry, we messed this up. So this is going to be our second to last line. So your username, your taxable income is, so it's going to say your taxable income is that and your income tax. So the third line, it's going to say print f string and your income tax and your income tax is, you're going to do income tax variable, income tax, close parentheses, semicolon, comma, dot to F. All right, so this should, oh, we are missing our third thing right here. So this is the execution of the program. So if main, if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to the string main underscore underscore main underscore underscore, then we call our function message. Okay, so let's run this program here. And it's running. All right, so it says tax. Oh, okay. So this is nothing is happening over here because our tax calculator. Oops, sorry guys. What is this over here? We don't need that. All right, so this nothing is running because our first function, which is the message function, is not calling any other function. So in order for this to work, we have to input the second function. So we have to make sure we call the second function from the first function. So we do user input. So after line 4 is done running, our first function will call user input function, and then user input function will run everything, and then it will call our third function, which is the cal tax function. Okay, so let's run this over here one more time. Enter your name. We're gonna do Dio, because why not? Dio, enter the number of dependents. We're gonna do the same number of dependents here to keep it simple. 3 dependents, because Soledad has 3 dependents. Can you believe that? No, just kidding. Sorry, Soledad, don't cancel me. Enter gross income, 150K, so 150,000, 150,000, and then yeah, guys, we got this in our first damn try, in our first run. It says you have entered 3 dependents. You have entered the gross income of 150K. This should be 34K. Your taxable income is 34K. And then your income tax is 26,800. Yo, we got our calculation and math right in our first try. Let's get it. Fix this up a little bit. Make sure to do this in PyCharm and IntelliJ Light so that your background color is light. Yeah, and just, fix it up a little bit, but this is the main body of the code. I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe and share. And yeah, guys, bye. Adios. Adios.